Shalom. I give all honor and praises to Yahweh, Bashem, Yahushua, Basher, Hakodash. Thou honors to the elders, apostle, great millstone, top of the truth of sincerity, citations to the hopeful, let this better focus on it. This is going to be another lesson entitled Interview by Pastor James Wickstrom with Rabbi Abraham Finkelstein. It was an interview that was done in 2006. I'm going to split it up into 6 parts. And each part is going to be me playing the interview, okay, which is what you're looking at now. And I'm breaking it down to 10 minutes. Each part will be 10 minutes of the interview. So, for example, this part is going to be 1 minute through about 11 minutes. It's going to be 10 parts, so it's going to be 10 minutes. Me playing this clip, bringing out precepts. This video is not gonna last 10 minutes, but I'm just gonna play 10 minutes of the clip. 10 to 11 minutes of the clip. All right, now this interview, all right, was interviewed with the son of the devil. Okay, now who's the son of the devil? All right, those fake Jews, right? Those Amalekites, okay, that proclaim themselves to be claim themselves to be the chosen people of the Lord, Yahweh, okay, claim themselves to be the descendants of the ancient Israelites, right? Who you are looking at now, right? Okay. This is what you're looking at now. A devil proclaiming himself to be the descendants of the Israelites. Because we know the Jews are of who, right? They are the sons of kingdom. They are of Benjamin, Judah, and Levi. All right, Judah, Benjamin, Levi. All right, which are the children of the nation of Israel. Yasharala. Okay. Now, before I get into the video, I'm gonna bring out one precept. All right. So this precept I'm gonna bring out. Let's share my screen. It's Isaiah 64. All right, and 1. Now, prayers for deliverance for secret enemies. Okay. Now, who are our secret enemies? Okay, it's a secret enemy. All right, it's not an enemy that you know that are your enemy, right? It's a secret enemy. So it's an enemy who you don't know. Okay. And these enemies are who? Those that control this world, the wicked that controls this world, the wicked that controls your government, right? The wicked that set up puppet leaders, right, to push their agendas, okay? Those that control the money, the governments, okay, the top bankish elite, okay? They're your Rothschilds, okay? And your Rockefellers, all right? Though they are our enemies, okay? Because they push, for example, your food, right? The different candies, different food you eat, right? There's things in there that are meant to destroy you, and that are meant to make you sick. That meant to make you to go to their pharmaceuticals, get their medicines and make them rich, okay? List goes on and on, right? Your fast food, okay? This I'm going to go back to the interview, but on the right you will see an image of someone who ate at McDonald's, found a teeth fragment of a teeth in their McMuffin. Okay, it shows that there's this man is a man of lawlessness, doesn't care about your health. Okay, he doesn't care if you drop dead. Okay, he only cares about pushing his interest and push his weight around the world. And these goes back to what your Ashkenazi Jews, right? Those the Amalek, right? The chief tribe of Esau, okay, who proclaim themselves to be of the descendants of the ancient Israelites. So this is Psalm 64:1. It said, "To the chief musician, a son of David, hear my voice, O the Most High, in my prayer. Preserve my life from fear of the enemy." Okay. Hide me from the secret counsel of the wicked, from the insurrection of the workers of iniquity. The secret counsels of the wicked are what? Those, those that go to the different outlets, whether they jackal outlet or just different places to devise wickedness, okay, upon the people, okay, to promote their interests, okay. Who whet their tongue like a sword and bend their bows to shoot their arrows, even bitter words, okay. The different laws, agendas, they're they're like arrows, okay, shooting at the at the righteous, okay, and the children of the Lord, okay, which are the Israelites, okay. The agenda they push, right? That they may shoot in secret at the perfect. Suddenly do they shoot at him and fear not, right? They shoot at the righteous, the Israelites, and they fear not, okay. As you're gonna see, right? As you're gonna hear actually from Rabbi Abraham Finkelstein, okay. You gotta pay close attention to what he's about to say, because he's about to expose a lot of truth. Okay. They encourage themselves in an evil matter. Again, you're gonna hear that. Okay. What he's gonna go into about wars. He's gonna say the war, basic war is good. Okay, it's good to have war. Okay. That's him encouraging themselves in an evil manner. Encouraging themselves to do work, giving them reasoning to commit wars, commit heinous acts among other nations. They commute laying snares privately. They say, "Who should see them?" Snares are trap. Privately is private. Okay. Okay. These snares come in the form of whether it's your food, your financial system, all right, because some people don't know their financial system, so that could be a trap, right? Because you don't know the financial systems, and that means you're stuck in a basically you're stuck in a box, okay, that you're not gonna be able to dig yourself out, all right. It's like people are stuck in debt, right? In debt, compound interest, all right. So the more you pay your debt, you think you're paying off your debt, but really you're not. Okay, you just compounding interest, and it's getting larger, right? They say, "Who should see them? Who should see them?" They search out iniquities, meaning what? They search out evil, all right. They accomplish a diligent search, both the inward thought of every one of them, in the heart is deep, right? Okay, so both the inward thought, every one of them, meaning what? Of the wicked, okay, of the top rank elite. That Duval meeting, you know, was a group of devils, okay, searching out iniquities. All right, because that's what basically what you were watching, right? You know how they gonna take over another nation, okay, sovereign nation land, okay. They accomplish a diligent search, okay, and how they do this through communicating with the angels on the left hand side, the devils, the demons, okay, so called demons. Like the Most High should shoot at them with an arrow. Suddenly, should they be wounded, okay? Meaning what? And what's the arrow, right? What's the arrow of the Lord, okay? It's the man of the Lord, okay? Exposing these devils, right? Exposing their lies, okay? Because you have many people, okay, through the years, our elders on our apostles on down, been teaching this word, exposing the devil, exposing the wicked. Many people have woken up, okay? Because you have this truth is worldwide, right? Many brothers like to say, you have people teaching the word, teaching the truth in America, and all the way down in Jamaica, you know, Australia, UK, France, German, all right, Italy. This goes on and on. This truth is widespread. And the devils are seeing this. And this is why they're trying to, heavily, heavily censor our apostles. All right. And this is why this is also why when you speak up against the devil, right? Whether you're the president, okay, whether you a leader of some sort, a political leader of some sort, okay. For example, um, what's that man named Charlie Kirk, right? He spoke up against the Jews, right? He spoke the truth. He said that the Jews, you know, was the one that was the problem, was the issue. Guess what? They took him out. Okay, Martin Luther King, right? He basically told the people, right, in one of his speeches that what we are the, you know, he has seen the promised land, and he said he might not get there, but as a people, we will get there. Okay, promised land is what the land of Jerusalem, the new Jerusalem. Okay, but he exposed um he was exposing the devils, right? All right, JFK, right? He didn't want to push a certain agenda. He got taken out. Okay, the list goes on and on. But this how the Lord is wounding these devils, right? So they should make their own tongue to fall upon themselves, right? And this is what you're saying in this interview, okay, by Rabbi Abraham Finkelstein, right? The Lord put the Spirit on him to come on that interview, to be interviewed, okay, and to expose the truth, whether it was the whole truth or the half truth, to expose the truth, okay, to expose the lies, okay. It's like you to expose the lies and to bring out truth, right? Whether it's some truth or whether it's whole truth or half truth, it's truth, okay. And his tongue fell upon himself, okay, because what the devil is his horns got exposed, okay. And all that sees them shall flee away. Meaning what? This is why they trying to keep the masses. This is why they trying to spare their lives, keep their lives going. Okay, you know, keep their lives, keep their lives going because they know if the masses figure out who they are, right, they're gonna rise up, okay, against them, right? And you can't kill he you can't they won't be able to control that, okay? Control a whole nation of people, a whole people just up in protesting, rise up against the government. Okay, that's a collapse of a nation. Okay, if you have a majority of the people rising up against you, that's a collapse of a nation. Okay. So I'm gonna bring it um, back to the interview, and I'm gonna play it, and I'm gonna pause in between it to bring out some precepts, and I'm gonna play it back to the 11-minute mark.
I'd like to welcome you to Johnny 44. I'm James Wickstrom, a teacher of Yahweh, coming to you live on the Turner Radio Network for the next hour from 9 to 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Filling in for Pastor Bob, who covered for me last. Very, very interesting program tonight. I'm sure you're going to find it that way. I have a guest by the name of Rabbi Finkelstein. He's off the east coast of the United States who's going to be joining me tonight, and we're going to be talking about authenticity of things in the world. Rabbi Finkelstein, as I said, a rabbi off the east coast of the United States. Are you there with me tonight?
Shalom, I am here.
Say, listen, I'm filling in here for Pastor Bob tonight, and I know we've never met, but I do have some very interesting questions for you. I think questions that I want to give you the opportunity to answer to, because there's a lot of rumors and conjecture that's taking place across this country relating to the Jewish population, okay?
Okay.
Now, you see, as being off the synagogue and a teacher of the Jewish race, because you are a race, aren't you?
Well, some say we're a race, some say we're a religion.
Yeah, well, what do you say?
We're a little of each.
I can imagine, yeah. Now, I want to get into some hard topic here right away here. You're a very pronounced person among your own people, and of course...
All right. So the first question was about Jews being a race rather than a religion. Now, we know that the Jews, okay, are, are of what the nation of Israel, of the tribe of Judah, Benjamin, and Levi. Now, the devil, who proclaims himself to be of the true biblical ancient Israelites, proclaims himself to be the Jews, right? They're a race of people, okay? Because the race is just someone, just goes back to goes back into just a group of individuals share common physical characteristics, ancestry, or culture traits. Okay, now he's a race of the wicked. Okay, because he's an Amalekite. Okay, Amalekite is of the tribe of Esau, or the Amalekite is a tribe of the house of Esau, and just like the tribe of Judah is a tribe of the house of Israel, okay, of the nation of Israel. And Esau is just is just a nation of the Edomites, okay, who are biblically described as wicked. All right. So I'm gonna bring out the precept basically going into how, they're a race of people. Being a Jew is not a religion, okay. The religion is a practice, is the worshiping of of the true of the Lord Yahweh, okay. But they don't worship the true Lord, okay. They worship Satan. Okay, just to put it plain and simple. This is Genesis 25. Now, Genesis 25 and 22. This was after Rebecca, all right, entreated to the Lord prophets, okay, because her two twins were basically having a fight. So this is Genesis 25:23. We see the Lord said unto her, two nations are in thy womb, two men of people should be separated from thy bowels, and the one people shall be stronger than the other people, and the elder shall serve the younger. Okay. So two nations, okay. Nations are people, okay, race of people, ultimately, all right. So these are race of people, all right, and two manners of people, okay. Two men are going back to what their behavior, their characteristics, their traits, okay. They're not going to think the same, okay. They're not going to move the same in a sense, okay. Two different peoples, okay. Two races of people with different physical appearance, okay. And the one people shall be stronger than the other people, and the elder shall serve the younger. And when her days to be delivered were fulfilled, behold, there were twins in her womb. Okay. And the first came out red, like all over, like a hairy garment. They call his name Esau. Okay. Now, this is significant because Esau name, right, goes back to the Hebrew Adawam. Okay. Which means red. Which go back to Hebrew Adawam, which means Edom. Okay. And ultimately, his when he came out red, meaning his skin tone, all right, it's like I believe I said that either one means I think pretty sure. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure either one goes back to red, right? Which means that he came out pale skin. He came out with a curse of leprosy, all right? Because I'm seeing it now that
Strong's H
goes
132. Admoni.
Pretty sure pronounced Adawam. All right, but kid, he came out red, okay? Came out white, so-called white. It's why when we say so-called white people, we talk about that they're not really white, they're red, okay? And the Rothschild names, okay? The original name of the Rothschilds, okay, means red shield, right? Which was basically adopted by Meyer Elsha Bauer, okay, who was the founder of the the your banking systems, okay. He was a what you call a pioneer in that, okay, founder of the Rothschild banking dynasty, okay. He was a pioneer, okay, which I'm going to go into. All right, so you get the point, right? The Esau, okay. Um, the you have two races of people, okay, which the fake Jews, they are of the house of Esau, okay, because they are the tribe of Amalek, right, which is the chief tribe of the house of Esau, okay, just like Judah, okay, Yehoiada is the chief tribe or the head tribe of the house of nation of Yasharallah, okay, of Israel. All right. So I want to get back to the interview. All right.
Of course, you're very aware that I don't like you or your race, okay? I'm sure you're aware of this, right?
That's your problem.
You see, there's a big topic that's going around on this 6 million Holocaust that took place during World War II of the Jews at Buchenwald, Auschwitz, and different places. A lot of information has come out here, Rabbi Finkelstein, that it's all myth and it's all conjecture. Could I have your view on this?
Well, everybody knows that the Jews never told a lie in the history of the world. However, whether it's 6 million or 600,000 or 60,000, it's just a number.
Well, it's just a number, but the thing that I want to get to you at is that, the 1934 World Encyclopedia stated that there was only 3.5 million Jews in all of Europe. How did 3.5 million Jews populate themselves to 6 million? This is a question I'd like answered.
Well, it's certainly a good question, there's no doubt about it. But the number, numbers, what can I say about numbers? The important thing is that Jews have always been persecuted all throughout the history of the world forever and still are.
Well, the reason they're persecuted is because they're thieves, liars, and murderers, just like it's stated in the book of John 8:44. Yet
Bible stuff.
You're a lying Jew is what you are. You're a lying Jew.
You could say that, but even when we lie, we tell the truth.
You know,
Fuck you. I wasn't even. My mic was on. But the I keep forgetting that. But the scripture that James Wickstrom is going to is John 8:44, which is, ye are your father the devil, and the lust of your father you would do. He was a murderer from the beginning, and abode not in the truth, because there is no truth in him. Now, he was a murderer from the beginning. They're going all the way back to Genesis, okay? For the serpent, okay? Seducing, getting to Eve mind, okay? Tempting Eve to take up the customs of the wicked, of the heathens, all right? And that was a spiritual death, okay? A spiritual fall, okay? From a righteous state, okay? And ultimately, that's how sin became into the world. And that's how we really, that's how death entered the world, okay? Through the fall of Adam and Eve. And through that, you got Cain, right? Cain was of the seed of the wicked, all right? And he physically, okay, committed the murder, okay? He murdered his brother Abel, okay? And this is what the Lord is going to. He's basically saying that the Israelites are like the father of their devil, okay? And both not the truth, because there's no truth in him, right? There's no truth in these devils, right? In the wicked, okay? You talk about your elite, right? In the sense of there's no truth that they will be willing to allow the masses, okay, to know, right? Who they really are. They're not gonna put it on their on national news that they are the devil and they controlled everything, etc., etc. All right, and that your presidents are not elected; they're selected, okay, by them. They're not gonna put that truth out on national news, okay. They're gonna continue to feed the masses with lies, continue to feed, because that's how you keep a nation going, okay. Just imagine the masses waking up, okay, and waking up to who the true devils are, right? You can't have a nation. A nation can't function, won't be able to function, because there'll be wars, civil wars happening, etc., etc. Okay. When he speaketh a lie, he speaketh of his own, for he's a liar and the father of him. You know what? How do he speak of his own lie? Okay. When you speak a lie of your own, I mean, you made it up, you created it, okay? You push it, okay? You control what's the truth and what's the lie, okay? So for he's a liar and the father of it, okay? And this is what you sin, right? These devils, they control your media, all your media outlet, right? So they can put out the truth, they can put out a lie, all right? They can make you believe a truth, and the truth is a lie. They can make you believe that a lie is a truth, okay? Just how they can make you think that being part of a happy community, being part of the LGBT plus community is a righteous thing. Okay, turning the world upside down, right? The world, the course of the world is out of order. Okay, roughly paraphrasing. Okay, the turning the truth into righteous being made evil, evil being made righteous. Okay, this is what these devils like to push. Okay. I'm going to play back the clip.
Oh, this is very ironic because, I never thought that I would get anyone that had the nerve to join me on a broadcast like this live. And I just got off a program with a retired colonel, a very highly decorated colonel, on my last broadcast, my original broadcast here.
You heard that? Because this is why I also mentioned, about, the fact that the Lord put on the spirit of this devil to come and interview with, James, right, shows that it's all the work of the Lord at the end of the day, okay? And guess what? The lies being the truth is the lies being exposed. And it's going to be exposed worldwide, okay?
Rabbi Finkelstein, and we got into the banking aspect of the money in this country. Now, a lot of people who have studied banking and economics, they know that the Federal Reserve Banking Corporation is a private Jewish bank. Is this true?
Well, yes and no.
Well, what part is yes?
Well, it's a banking institution, that's for sure.
You see, the thing that I don't like about this is that the Jews never knew what hard work was, and they never had. And besides,
So Jewish control of the central banks, right? That's a hot topic now, right? A very hot topic, because what did Mao, Meyer M. Rothschild say? All right, let's get to it. Mayor M. Rothschild says, "Let me issue and control a nation's money, and I care not who writes the laws." Okay. There's also a direct quote, okay, from him, the devil. Okay, and this is what you're seeing now in America. All right. You said different laws been passed. The president pushing different executive orders. Okay. Different laws. Okay. Etc. Etc. But these top breakers, they don't care. They're not stopping them. Okay. All right. Because what? They control the nation's money. All right. They control a nation's government. Okay. And this is scripture as well. They control the Federal Reserve. Okay. And basically, the J.P. Morgan, the Rockefellers, the Rothschild, okay, the Warburg banking institutes families, right? They are shareholders, okay, of the bank that supply the Federal Reserve, okay. So they have, they invest, they heavily invest, okay, into the banks, okay, the Federal Reserve, okay. So I'm gonna break out some precept. Ooh, Psalm 73. Psalm 73. Psalms 73. Okay. Psalm 73 and 3 reads, I was envious at the foolish when I saw the prosperity of the wicked. For there are no beds in their death, but their strength is firm. How their strength is firm? How is the strength of these top breakers are firm? Because they have control of a nation banking, okay, institution. All right. This is why, in Venezuela doesn't have a Rothschild banking institution. Okay. And this is why when to capture Maduro. That's why you had Nathan Rothschild, okay, come on tweet and say, could basically commended Trump for capturing Maduro because now they can institute their banking. They can have control of that nation financial banking money. Okay. Basically the government. All right. So their street is firm. Their street is firm through money control. Okay. Their financial control. Their banking control. They are not in trouble as other men, neither are they plagued like other men. These top bakers, they're not in trouble as other men, all right? They don't get sick and so they don't get tired. They're not losing sleep, okay? They're not waking, they're not worrying about, the daily sacrifice of a human being, right? They have everything they want and need, okay? They're not worried about being sick, okay? All right. They're not worried. They're not in having the physical elements going on with them, okay? In the sense of, being caused by just oppression, okay? They're not oppressed, basically. And I'm going to save some of this on down because, he might go into some juicy topics. So I'm just going to save the rest. Actually, Job 9:24. Actually, I'm not gonna get that one yet. Wait.
This is the nice part about it. You Jews are just Christ murderers anyway.
Well, that's true. We didn't murder him, but he was Jewish too.
Oh, no, he was Almighty Yahweh, God in the flesh body. That's the problem you got.
Right. So that's a lie. Okay. This is why these Christian pastors, we don't listen to them. Okay. Because he just says that the Lord Yahushua was they had a father. Okay, in the flesh. No, that's a lie. Okay. And we know that the Israelites, okay, the ancient Israelites, they conspired to put Yahushua to death, all right? So they did put Yahushua to death, okay? But the Romans was the one that carried the axe, okay? That's why. But what they did, they thought they was the ancient Israelites, they thought they were doing something that was righteous, right? Which they didn't. It wasn't righteous, okay? In the sense of that it wasn't, they condemned an innocent man to death, okay? Yahushua was innocent, okay? But it was all set up anyway through the Spirit, okay? Yahweh wanted that to play out, right? Because that's the only way that, it was the only way of, it was the only way of, the sins of Israel being recompensed, okay, and been forgiven, and the Israelites being reconciled back to the good, great gracious of the Heavenly Father, Yahweh.
Well, we tell all the Goyim that they worship a Jew and they believe it, so what's the difference?
And now that you brought up the Goyim, let's talk about that. In other words, the Goyim, correct me if I'm wrong, I know you will. Rabbi Finkelstein, a Goyim is any person who isn't a Jew. A Goyim is classified as cattle or an animal. Is this correct?
Well, they are cattle because we're the chosen people.
Well, yeah, you're chosen for fertilizer. That's what you're chosen for. This is what the book of Enoch, the patriarch, even Yahweh in a flesh body said that.
So as you heard Rabbi Abraham Finkelstein saying that they're the chosen, okay? They're the chosen, right? Which just it's not chosen, okay? He says so they're chosen they're the wicked, okay? They're the wicked. They're not of the chosen people. They're not of the ancient Israelites. They're not the biblical Israelites. Now, there were Goyim, okay? can be used to refer to a heathen, okay? And basically, Abraham basically said that, you know, anyone who is not a Jew, and since they're a cattle, they're an animal. Now, a cattle or animal is a can be signified what, them being a sacrifice. They've just been, they're been nothing, okay? Then they're not humans, okay?
All of you Jews, the descendants of Cain, are going to perish for the evil that you have done in this world. You are the destroyers and the incineraries of the world, are you not?
I'll agree with that.
But you see,
So he agreed that the Jews are the destroyers and incinerators of the world. So let's bring out some precepts on that, okay? So that's true, all right? The reason why the war is raging in Western Asia is because what the Jews, the fake Jews, okay, so-called Jews, all right, they're having that war because they want Palestine, right? They think Palestine belongs to them, all right? And they think the Lord is with that, okay? This is Job 9:24. Says the earth is given to the hand of the wicked. He covered the face of the judge thereof. If not, where and who is he? Right. So the earth is given to the hand of the wicked, and with that power they have, right? They're using that power, okay, to destroy, nations, governments, and to will their weight around, okay. And they cover the face of the judges. Right, the judges are who? The true biblical Israelites, right? How they cover the face of the judges, going back to iconoclasm, right? Whitewashing, okay? The Renaissance, all the way to the Renaissance period, when these devils came to power, okay? They came into power, rulership, right? And start proclaiming themselves to be the Jews, right? To be the children, the descendants of the children of the biblical Israelites, okay. So if not, where who's this easy? If the fake Jews are not the wicked, where's the wicked? Okay, who is the wicked? Okay. And Micah, the second chapter. Woe to oppressors. Back into what reads. Woe to them that devise iniquity, erect evil upon their beds. When the morning is light, they practice it, because it's in the power of their hand. Going back to Job 9:24. The world given to the hand of the wicked. All right. So with this power, okay, they practice their iniquity, their evil actions, okay? And they covet fields, and they take them by violence, and houses, and take them away, okay? And this is what you're seeing, all right? With the fake Jews waging a war on a foreign nation, Palestine. Palestine is just they're the nation with the Ishmaelites, okay? But they waged a war, okay? And they're oppressing the Palestine, right? And this also goes back to what the Israelites, okay? What they did to our people, to the ancient, to the biblical, to what is so-called Negroes, which are the tribe of Judah, what they did to us in America, right? Our people, right, had a whole city, right, where they had businesses, okay, flourishing businesses, schools, healthcare facilities, okay, flourishing, okay. But these devil in their wicked mind, okay, thought what? We can't have these people flourishing. Can't have these people flourishing, right? So this is why you have something called Black Wall Street, okay, and Lake Lanier, okay, because Lake Lanier is just Atlanta is a city on Lake Lanier that was flooded. That these devil would create a flood to flood that city, which was a black city, okay. And the list goes on. A press a man in his house, and even a man in his heritage. All right. So I'm going to go back to the interview.
See, the thing that really bothers me, and not bothers me to the extent of losing sleep over people like you, is that all wars have been created by Jewry. They've been all set up to as a monetary gain. Wouldn't you agree?
It's the greatest game in the world to make some shekels.
Now, let me ask.
So as you can see, all right, all wars were created by the Jews, okay? And what was it? Abraham Finkelstein replied, "It is the gayest game in the world to make some shekels." Okay. Now, that word "gay" is not referring to, okay, sexually, okay. It either can mean two things, okay. Either it can mean happy, cheerful, okay, or it can mean foolish or stupid. So you can substitute this word "gay" for either it's the stupidest game or the cheerful game, okay, depending on how you take his response or how you reacted to this question, right? Because he laughed saying it, right? So it can either be is the stupidest game in the world to make some shekels. Now, shekels are money, okay. In the Bible, shekels are a side of currency, or money, okay, which is a side of silver, okay. Just like Napoleon Bonaparte, I believe, said it, right? There are two. He basically said there are two. In revolution, two people basically profit from it. Let me see if I can find it. Yeah, so Napoleon Bonaparte quote, okay? You can look it up. It says in revolution, there are only two sorts of men, those who cause them and those who profit by them. Okay. So, we know during that war, okay, the Rothschild were profiting from the Napoleonic Wars, right, from Britain and the French, okay, because what they did was they basically, played lot out, they basically funded the wars, okay. They funded it, okay. And basically, those who win, right, whoever wins, they profit from the winner, okay, winner of the war, okay. So this goes back to the scriptures, right? And they cover fields and take them by violence. Fields are referred to land, okay? Land, people, land, nation, other nations' land, okay? So they covet, meaning what they greed over it, okay? They hunger over it. And take it by violence, meaning what they use in their military might, okay? To wage war and to take these nations' land, okay?
Ask you this. There's so much things being talked about with George Bush in the White House. Let me have your opinion, first of all, about George Bush in the White House.
He's a good goyim.
Yeah, well, he's a good goyim. Good.
So they say George Bush is a good goyim because what George Bush did, he pushed the agenda of the WikiLeaks, right? That's why he's still living. Okay, whether it was the junior, senior George Bush or senior George Bush, okay, they pushed the agendas of the elite, all right. So he's a goyim, meaning what he's just a puppet, a cattle, okay, that could be sacrificed, okay, at any given time. This is why basically said he was a good goyim.
Good boy. He takes his orders from Ariel over there, and he tells him what to do, and he does it like a good goyim.
Would you agree?
As you can hear, he takes his orders for the top bankers, from the top bankers elite, okay, and he follows the orders, okay.
That when the Balfour Declaration was signed in England, and the Jews were taken to Palestine, the land of Palestine, would you agree or disagree that there's actually more killing? And there's been as much slaughter in Palestine by the Jews slaughtering and killing the Palestinians as there are of the Iraqi people being butchered in the last 12 years.
Well, who counts? But once in a while, you got to thin out the herd. When you own the herd, you got to thin out the herd.
Now, if you know the Balfour Declaration is, just going to bring it out. The Balfour Declaration is the declaration. So the declaration by I forget his name. By Arthur James Balfour, okay, which was a declaration addressed to Walter Rothschild, right? So the declaration came out at the end of World War I, the Ottoman Empire, which goes back to the Turk, which is modern day Turkey, okay, which was aligned with Germany and Austria-Hungary, was beaten and was being split up among the victors. Okay, there were a lot of discussion about who got what, and one of the territories of the table of discussion was Palestine. There was a strong Zionist movement even before the Nazis came along, and the British government was very sensitive to that. The declaration promising Jews possession of Palestine was just a letter that Balfour had written to Lord Rothschild, a prominent British Jew. He really had no force of law, but the Jew latched onto it as their guarantee to the homeland they were seeking. So this is why you're seeing now. The fake Jews believe that land in Palestine, that land in Palestine belongs to them, right? And that's why they was in war. Okay, so that's what the Balfour Declaration is, right? And that's why that's the significance to today. It is significance to today, current events.
I see. That's the philosophy of making money and staying alive and staying ahead. Is this right? Now, I'd like to...
You take that Iraq business over there. We got the white goyim fighting the Arab goyim, and they're killing each other, and we're making a lot of money, and we get the oil, and we get the interest. The most important thing is the interest on all the shekels.
So you have the white goyim fighting the Arab goyims. Let's play that back.
And they're killing each other, and we're making a lot of money, and we get the oil, and we get the interest. The most...
Staying ahead. Is this right? Now, I'd like to...
You take that Iraq business over there. We got the white goyim fighting the Arab goyim, and they're killing each other, and we're making a lot of money, and we get the oil, and we get the interest. The most important thing is the interest on all the shekels that we loan both sides.
You mean usury?
Right. No, I just said. Okay. Basically, Abraham Finkelstein is exposing is the truth, right? When these nations, okay, this is why they cause things to have these words that's been called is ultimately is to gain, it's for the interest of the top bank elite, right? Whether it's for oil, like Venezuela, okay, because if we when Trump took Maduro kidnapped Maduro out of his own land. The first thing he went into was oil. Okay. That was a headline. All right. Control of the oil, right? Because that's the interest of the bankers elite, right? To a nation is fueled by oil. Oil is rich, and it's very wealthy, and it's very wealthy, and it is needed to keep a nation going. Okay. Your vehicles is formed by oil. The different military equipment, trucks, vehicles, etc. needs oil. Okay, the airplanes, etc. needs oil. So oil is very important, and you don't want the oil to be getting in the wrong hand. Okay, of the enemy. So, but it's all to push the interest of the top bank elite. Because what did he say? He said that they loan both wars. Whether you're these devils don't care, okay? They loan both sides of the wars, okay?
That's right. You call it usually.
Now, there's a book out that you read, Rabbi Finkelstein, called the Talmud. Now, the Talmud refers to Christ as his mother was a whore, and he was a bastardized son of a Roman soldier. Is this what's being taught in the synagogues?
Well, every good Jew knows that.
But you see, the reason that I wanted to ask you this is that, you just said a little while ago that he was a Jew. And now you say every Jew knows that he was the son of a Roman soldier and that his mother was a prostitute.
Well, that was a long time ago. Who knows what was said back then?
Yeah. All right. So we know that's a lie, okay? I don't even need to get pieces out. But we know the Talmud is just a wicked Bible. Not even a Bible. It's just a wicked book anyways. Created by, the fake Israelites, not the fake Israelites, but the fake Jews, okay? All right? Fake rabbis, okay? What does the Bible say about that, okay? What the Bible says about other books, okay? We can't be dwelling on other books like the Talmud because we know that it's wicked, okay? It's a wicked book, right? They teach that young men, okay, can have basic intercourse with a older woman, okay? They teach a lot of defiled things in that book. And that's one of the defiled teachers, okay? Saying that the Lord mother, okay, who was a virgin, never had sex, okay, was a whore. And our Lord and Savior, Yahushua, being a bastard, okay. This is Isaiah 34:16 reads, "Seek ye out the book of the Lord, Yahweh." This is the book of the Lord, okay, the scroll, okay. And read, no one of these shall fail. You know what, the scriptures, right? The prophecies and what's written in this Bible, right, will come true, okay? None shall want her mate. Now, her mate is referring to the other Bibles, right? Because wisdom, okay, is referred to, the other Bibles or other teachers, right, are known as, are referred to as women, okay? Because what? How they refer to women? A fine woman, okay, a beautiful woman can catch your eye, okay. It can lead you on, all right. Just like teachings, right? A teaching of Satan can lead you on, okay. It can make you believe in that teaching, all right. Let me go. Let me see. Those in Proverbs. Right, but the point is that for my mouth it has commanded, in his spirit it has gathered them. Right. So no other Bible won't, or no other teachers deny the Talmud can stand up against the word of the Lord. Okay, the whole Bible. Right. So I'm gonna get back to the interview.
Yeah, I guess that's right. That's absolutely right. We're having a real bad problem in our country right now. There's a lot of outsourcing of jobs and deindustrialization of this country. The 7 Jew banking families that took over control of the money in America in 1913 was the Rothschilds of London, Israel Schiff of Italy, Kuhn&Loeb of Germany, the Warburgs of Hamburg, Lehman Brothers of New York, Goldman Sachs of New York, and the Rockefellers of New York. A lot of people, they don't realize and know that these 7 Jewish families actually control all the money and have controlled the money in this country since 1913. I know you're aware of this.
Of course.
Now, in doing so, I mean, that makes a pretty big purse, doesn't it?
Listen, the goyim are the schleppers. They do all the work. That's what they want to do. They want to work. They always want jobs, so we give them jobs to work. The Jews don't work.
Right. So the goyim are these shepherds. Okay. Now a shepherd, okay, is an idiotic person basically. Okay. Trying to get a person who, so a inept or stupid person, right? So the goyim, which he refers to goyim as as the masses, okay, the cattle are these shepherds are stupid people, saying if they want to work, then they can work, okay? Because when you're working just for nothing, okay? You know, you're not gonna like you're gonna get rich, okay? Not like you're gonna be the top breaker of the league, okay? The Jews, what they're not the fake Jews, they're not having to work, they're not being oppressed. This is why the scripture. This is why going back to that to Psalm 73, why they speak wickedly concerning oppression. And this is why you're hearing this devil is speaking wickedly concerning oppression. Let me just play it back.
You know, they do all the work. That's what they want to do. They want to work. They always want jobs, so we give them jobs to work. The Jews don't work.
No, Jews don't work, and you're absolutely true.
Right. So you can see, he said, if they want to, that's all they do is work. If they want a job, they said, we'll give them a job so they can work. Okay. They said the Jews don't work. So that's prophecies, that's the scriptures speaking loudly and clear. Psalms 73. Psalm 73 says, it reads, therefore pride compasses them about as a chain, violence covers them as a garment. Okay. Again, going back to what, funding both wars, okay. Profiting from the wars, okay. That's violence cover them as a garment. They another quote that came to mind. The best time to make money is when blood is flowing in the street. That quote. So buy when there's blood in the streets, okay? Buy when blood is running in the street is a quote attributed to Baron Nathan Rothschild, okay? Basically that goes back into what? Blood is running to war, okay? The best time to buy, when there's war, okay? So this goes back to Psalm 73. Pride compasses them about the chain. They're very proud, okay? Violence covers them as a garment. Their eyes stand out with fatness. They have more than a heart could wish. Okay? They control the whole land, whole world, basically. That's more than a heart could wish, okay? And there's different things, okay? The Lord blesses this devil with. They are corrupt and speak wickedly concerning oppression. They speak lawfully, all right? And that's why you're hearing, okay, from Abraham Finkelstein, okay? And he says they scoff and speak only evil. And this is a Rabbi from the East Coast, okay? They scoff and speak only evil. In their pride, they seek to crush others, okay? They speak wickedly concerning oppressions, okay? Because that's saying that people just want to work. People just don't want to work, okay? We work because we have to work, okay? In the world was not created, okay, to function like that, all right? To buy food, okay? The Lord did not create humans to, have to buy for their food, okay? The food grow. This is where food grow on trees. The food grow on trees for free, okay? They don't come with a price tag, okay? And this is what the devil does, okay? He tells you have to buy if you want to survive, you want to eat, if you want to live comfortable in his world, you have to buy for everything. You have to work for it, okay? Meanwhile, you have to, in order to get his things, you have to work for it. You have to buy it, okay? That's wicked, okay? Adam and Eve, they were not living like that, okay? In the Garden of Eden, okay? They no. So again, we got right. That's why when the Lord comes back, everything will be set back in order. Okay, how it's supposed to be run. Okay, and the other people that will be working will be the devils. Okay, the other nations, the heathens, serving the Israelites. Okay, that's the honest truth. And that's what these devils don't like to hear. That they don't like to hear it. Right, because they know their time is coming up. Okay, their time is running out. So I'm going to go back to the interview.
I want to get back to this Holocaust, and I want to get back to the Holocaust survivors. You know, it's to the point here, Rabbi Finkelstein, where there's more Holocaust survivors getting getting money, getting payments, financial payments, than there were Holocaust people who died, allegedly among the Jews. Where did all these people come from?
Well, again, you know, they have the evidence, they have the proof that they were there in the Holocaust, and so they're entitled to some money.
So, in other words, you Jews say 6 million were killed in the concentration camps, and yet there's almost 6 million that are still receiving funds from Germany and other funding, and that's 12 million. Now, how does 12 million come out of 3 million?
Listen, again, the numbers, you know, you keep arguing about the numbers. The bottom line is that the Jews are entitled because we've been persecuted for thousands and thousands and thousands of years, and so we're entitled. Even 100 years from now, there'll be people collecting money on the Holocaust because of that lousy boy Hitler over there. He was a bad boy.
Now, let me ask you a question about this, because this is very important.
And Jews, and not Jews, Adolf Hitler, he goes in there, no, okay? You know, he basically said that the bigger lie you tell, okay, you keep telling a bigger lie, soon the masses will start to believe it, okay? You know, because he basically was saying that these devils, okay, you know, the fake Jews were basically, you know, they're not true, they're not the true Israelites, they're not the true Israelites, right? They're not the true Jews, right? They were telling the whole world that they are what? They are the true biblical Israelites, okay? That was they telling the whole world, right? And the masses, again, that was a big lie, okay? And guess what? The people believe it. They eat it up. They believe that the so-called white people, right, are the true biblical Israelites because they call themselves the Jews, okay? Which, you know, which was a complete lie, okay? Even Vladimir Putin know that, okay?
You know, we've gotten into a lot of very interesting information. We're going to get into more here in the very near future. But Rabbi Finkelstein, this country, the United States of America, is in real deep trouble right now financially, and I kind of want to know what you're telling the other Jews in that in regards to, because I know Jews don't have any loyalty to nothing but gold and silver, especially gold. What are the synagogues teaching the Jews in America today as to the course of where this country is heading?
Well, it's like this. You know, America, it served its purpose for us for a while. We made a lot of shekels here. We made a lot of emphasis off the shekels. But we can get cheaper labor in China. We can get cheaper labor in India. Why should we pay the white race goyim here in America any money when we can make a better deal over there? It's all about shekels.
You know, I want to get into that about shekels and interest and everything, and this is very interesting.
So, as you can see, the devil referred to these white Americans as just what? White goyim, right? White cattle, white sacrifice, okay? That's all I would say that the Jake enemies are not the regular Edomites you see walking on the streets. Okay, you see, you know, at your workplace, right? They're not your real enemies. The real enemies are these top bank elite. Okay, and they don't even care about their own people. Okay, even though they're you know, they're people. Okay, they're the same tribe, same house. They don't even care about their own people. Okay. So America has served its purpose, right? You know, they have completely sucked up the gold and silver from America, okay? And they say they can get cheaper labor in China and India, okay? This all goes back to I'll go back to Revelation 18:3. Okay. Actually, I'm going to get Ezekiel 28:5 before I get. Ezekiel 28:5. All right, Ezekiel 28:5. I'm going to start here. Ezekiel 28:1. The tower king on the throne. It says, the word of the Lord came again unto me, saying, Son of man, say unto the prince of towers, Thus says the Lord Yahweh, behold, thy heart is lifted up, and thou hast said, I am a power, the Most High. I sit in the seat of the Most High in the midst of the seas, meaning in the midst of the nations, okay, of other nations. Yet thou art a man and not the Most High. Thou though thou set thy heart as the heart of the Most High. Behold, thou art wise than Daniel. There's no secret that they can hide from thee. Okay. So this is a devil, okay? A heathen nation, a heathen, right? And these devils, they're wiser than the Daniel. Now the Daniel referring to the children of Israel, okay? Without wisdom and without understanding, thou hast gotten the riches, and thou gotten gold and silver into thy treasuries. By thy great wisdom and by thy traffic has thou increased thy riches. Now this is how the bankers increase their riches, right? Through their traffic, right? Now traffic just not referring to just the road traffic, referring to what? Trading, right? Trading merchandise, okay? You know, benefiting from a nation, okay? Military, all right? Control the nation financial institutions, okay? And thy heart is lifted up because of thy riches, okay? And this is what you're seeing. Abraham Finkelstein, his heart lifted up, just like his brethren's, okay, heart lifted up because of their riches. All right. So the merchants of the earth have waxed rich from America, which it basically what this is basically going into, right, from Benjamin who it says America is a golden calf, and we will suck it dry, chop it up, and sell it off, piece by piece, until there is nothing left but the world's biggest welfare state that we will create and control. This is what we do to countries that we hate. We destroy them very slowly. Okay. So this was in 1990, and this was a quote said by Benjamin. Now Trump, this is how we know that Trump's a puppet, because that's no way that Trump couldn't have heard this. Heard Benjamin say this and still ally with him and still sending him, thousands, not even thousands, billions of dollars to fund that war. Okay. To assist the Israelis in that war. That's ridiculous, okay? But it shows that the interests of the American people are not it doesn't matter, okay? It's a matter on the only people on the issue matter is the issues of the bankers elite. Okay, that's the point, right? For this part, you know, America is just a business, right? Just a business to the bankers elite. It's just a business. That's all. So I'm gonna close it here. I give all honor and praise to Yahweh, Hashem, Yahweh Shabbat Shalom. That's what I'm saying.